run out all the time. Constantly. I can't even imagine a life where I don't run out. When I run out, I feel worthless and embarrassed and like I'm not fulfilling my value as a human being. Like I don't deserve anything.
I'm often working and living on a very fine line between having and not having.
In my ideal life, I'd get paid just to exist so that I could actually share my less marketable talents with others. Like writing for entertainment rather than writing for survival. Or doing something community spirited. I don't even know what I'm trying to say because I can't even imagine a scenario in life where I could sit and ask myself, what would you do if you didn't have to work all of the goddamn time and spend all of your non-working time stressing out about where your next paycheck will come from? The notion is too far-fetched to contemplate.
I almost never run out of money. The last time was 8 years ago in Chicago, in the midst of a financially abusive relationship. I have panics about running out of money, even though it rarely happens. I imagine future financial instability because even though I'm okay now, I can't buy a house or other property. I don't have significant savings. I can't pay off substantial student loans, nor can I plan for retirement, illness, or old age. I am also aware that I have a privileged position. I'm a fourth-generation college graduate who grew up in a financially stable home.
I trust the universe a lot. I call people I've worked for in the past, and I try to say yes to everything that I'm offered, even if it pays less than what it should. I just won't do work where I'm demeaned on the job. That's usually my boundary.
I used to run out all the time, and could not look at my account balance when I withdrew from an ATM because I was afraid I would be overdrawn, which would then lead to fees. One day I talked about my financial anxieties to a therapist. This therapist encouraged me to look at my account balance to be aware of what was in it. No matter how little there was there, she told me to be aware if there was a big problem, like if I was overdrawn or in too much debt. She told me to look at it, to face it. It was a good first step. I felt very constrained my whole life by this feeling of lack. It created a lot of fear for me and stress. It motivated me to work all the time at so many jobs. In my 40s, I finally have a steady paycheck and I don't worry about it anymore. In fact, I can give it away, partially because I have a deeply developed and habitual ability to improvise, find what I need, and live cheaply, so I don't need much. I didn't have financial security until my mid-40s, so I am just learning what it is like to feel safer in that respect and have more insight into how people with economic privilege can blame others for their poverty. Because of the struggle and the stress of not having it, it is something you can easily forget about once you get some security.
I run out all the time. Sometimes once a month, sometimes every couple of months. I become very focused on getting work and doing it well, almost in a superstitious way. It's as if doing something well will bring me more work. I don't know if this is true.
Once a friend gave me some. When I was broke, she said she didn't need it at the moment. She told me I should hold on to it just so I didn't feel poor. And make desperate decisions while looking for work. It helped relieve my anxiety and helped me make better decisions, not because I spent it, but because it made me feel like I wasn't at the edge of the abyss in America. I really appreciated that. I paid it forward by paying for another friend's medical procedure. Didn't matter to me if or when she paid me back. I didn't want her to be scared that she wouldn't get the treatment she needed in the hospital. At those moments, I feel like friendship is a network that extends above and below us. Not situational, it's beyond.
I want to say this happens less often as I get older, but I don't think that's true. I think I'm just getting better at dealing with it, or it's become more naturalized. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 times a year I actually run out. I think it makes me feel panicked, anxious, and confused. I hide money from myself all the time, so I can't officially run out. When I actually run out, I'm checking all the nooks and crannies or socks or hidden PayPal accounts frantically. I think of all the people who owe me, but I don't call them. This happened when I was in NYC last year and I snatched stuff to eat from the trash outside of fancy restaurants, bummed cigarettes and asked well-dressed men to swipe me a subway ride, even though maybe at a certain point I didn't actually need some of those things. It felt like I was reaching for something. Mostly I've just tried to change my life so when this happens it isn't catastrophic. I've been working on never having to pay rent again. I know that this is a privileged position, but recently I went 11 months without it.
I feel incredibly anxious. I go inwards. I feel awkward when I have to decline invitations for coffee, shows, meals.
By not paying my student loans, credit cards, or taxes, I made ends meet for a decade. I've also learned the consequences of not paying those things, like having the government liquidate my bank accounts or having the city impound my car for unpaid parking tickets.
When I run out, I feel panicked, especially when I bounce my checking account, which happened a month and a half ago, and I have no savings. I feel like a fuck up, even though I know there are a lot of circumstances that put me in this position. It seems like I don't know how to manage myself like an on top of it poor person, and there's some shame around that.